And we're back. And as Conrad mentioned, we are so grateful for this listener question. I'm going to paraphrase some of it to try to hit the high notes and just to be respectful of time. Hi, Guy and Conrad. Listened to your podcast since accepting a role with a top law firm. Thank you. Burning question. Here we go. Great deal of experience with SEO, web development, publishing. However, my experience comes from non-legal and mostly B2B industries, predominantly tech and startups. Moved to the insanely competitive legal space, fired most of the agencies that were working for the firm, hired several new agencies, completely mystified when I began to understand that media, creative, digital, PR that work in this space, and by and large are taking advantage of attorneys who haven't a clue about business, much less marketing.
Wow. I'm sorry.
Welcome to our world.
Sometimes I feel like I need a shower at the end of the day, right? Like, yes, I'm sorry this is your experience. And I mean, really, there is so much garbage in legal that the rest of the marketing world looks at us and they get to peek behind the curtain, and boy, do they not like what they see.
I hired an agency that specializes in legal SEO and PPC, though I only hired them for the former, so it's SEO. Quickly learned the value of unique and useful content in the legal SEO game, which is to say there simply is no value. It seems to all be written for Google. Now, I understand that. I get that's SEO, and I also get that one needs to understand how to write content that's properly optimized. However, I do not think there's a solitary page on the website I've been working on with this agency for over a year now that is composed of original, interesting, or even concise content. It's pages upon pages upon pages of keyword-rich content. I could go on for hundreds of examples of how this project has played out with the agency. I've taken it upon myself to edit many of the bad pages, replace all the cheap stock photos. Well, we don't want to put the NC-17.
She said shitty pages.
With original or semi-decent stock photos, and I've refused to publish content that even a prospective client wouldn't care to read. Great point, and keep fighting the good fight. So I'll provide you with the most recent examples of what I've had and see what you have to say. Yesterday, they sent me 2 blogs and 2 press releases, in quotation marks, to approve. I read the press releases and once again found myself dismayed at the clear Google content, no newsworthiness, no timely tips, just the same old legal stuff you see on every law firm website. I asked if we could, at the very least, add some timely stats or data to the release. I asked if we could do some actual case studies to make it relevant or even slightly less nauseatingly sterile. They said that these press releases, which do indeed get sent out on the wire and do get found and picked up even when it says by Yahoo Business, need to be optimized, and that would be mess up the perfection of their SEO strategy. I'm so sorry. I'm attaching 2 of the releases for your reading displeasure, and I need to know, is this the way it must be to compete in the legal industry? Has compelling, relevant, useful content died here or years ago? And our listener, thank you again, and has expressed she would prefer to remain anonymous. We feel your pain. This is why Conrad and I cry ourselves to sleep at night. Conrad,
self-loathing marketer much?
What do you tell this dear listener?
Well, so, I mean, there's a couple things to unpack here. And I'm going to kind of jump on 2 of them. I think you would agree with me, Guy, that the really successful pages that have been written, successful from an SEO perspective, pages that have been written in legal, really are uninspiring and have been uninspiring for a long time. For the winners of SEO content have been uninspiring for a long time. I think that is fair to say. You agree?
I do. I mean, my view of this is, and this, Will Reynolds talked about this years ago. Lots of SEO people have talked about this. It's that pages rank that are terrible all the time. And, to your point, you got Danny and John out there telling everybody, great, helpful. We got the helpful content update. We got all these awesome updates that are focused on surfacing more awesome content. Go look in legal. It's not happening. I tell people all the time, even some of these practice area pages, the home pages, the content is absolutely awful. I wish this should be a letter written to Google. I wish Google wouldn't do that. But you want to know what's happening? It doesn't matter what's on the page. It's the link profile. These sites that are ranking for these competitive queries, they've got tons of backlinks. They're bigger sites, so they've got a lot of internal links. And the best, as AJ Cohn would say, the best Google is a blind 5-year-old. So Google is able to connect the dots and say things like, okay, this page is about personal injury lawyer, and it's got 10,000 backlinks from all of these relevant sites. Throw it into the results. That's what's going on here.
I think this is also exacerbated by the fact that this is one engine. Like, we don't have a panoply of different ways to search for content. We have one algorithm. We're all playing the same game. And that's why the results all look the same. But
look at Yandex. Yandex, they just leaked their code. Guess what they use? Links. They're all using links.
Links as a component, but like actually on the evaluation of the content, like we're looking at this we're all looking at this through the same algorithm. And so that's why this stuff that, like, you look at this day in, day out, it's the same thing over and over again. I want to unpack another piece here, though. There's a second subtext to your question, and this was around press releases and 2 blogs. So I want to pick on the press releases first, because I remember writing a very, very long time ago about press releases and link building, like the SEO value of press releases. Okay. I'm going to read this again because it's important. They said that these press releases, which do indeed get sent out on the wire and do get found and picked up, even if it's by Yahoo Business, need to be optimized, and that would mess up the perfection of it. What the fuck are you optimizing in a press release? I'm serious. Like, Google knows these are syndicated stuff. If there was a link value in press releases, the press release companies would be raking in money, right? There's no content. If the press releases are generating a story and you're getting coverage and links and goodwill from that, like, great. But like, press releases, are you kidding? The other part of this that drives me just up the wall, Guy, we're talking about 2 press releases and 2 blogs in a week. It feels like this very, very nice lady is in an engagement with a agency that suggests that you just need to keep publishing on the regular. How well does that work, Guy?
Terribly. In fact, I'm hoping our listener listens to this and then emails you and CCs her agency and be like, here's a link to the episode. Talk to Conrad about this. No, don't do that.
That's what I need.
And again, dear listener, let me tell you, you are on it. You are right. Focus on newsworthiness. Focus on original reporting. Focus on stats and data. And not because that content is going to like magically make Google think this is the best content since sliced bread. But guess who will think it is? People who are ready, willing, and able to link to it. Journalists, bloggers, maybe people that cover these types of issues in the local community. Maybe you build it. Maybe you write something, and a local school invites the attorneys to speak, or invites someone to take on a leadership position, and those pages have links. That's the point, right? The practice area, and let's also face another thing: in local pack, it's predominantly going to be home pages. Look, some of these firms, big firms with multiple office locations, might have internal pages set up on their GBP profiles. It's your homepage, so the content on your homepage is not driving your rankings for local pack. It's the links. It's the third-party validators. Mostly it's the distance and your business name field. But to our listener, you're doing the right stuff. Focus on the newsworthiness. Focus on newsjacking. A press release. I was thinking of an example we did a long time ago. A couple come to mind, but we did a scholarship for a lawyer that was like, we're going to give you a scholarship not to go to law school.
I remember this.
We did a bike accident map so people could self-report all of their bike accidents, and the news picked it up. Firms do, dangerous intersection content. That people actually care about that stuff, right? Oh, I'm going to avoid that intersection or complain to my state representative. Check this out. It gets picked up by the local news. That kind of stuff. You're on it. Keep doing that stuff. This press release for link thing, this should have died, what,
It
20 years
died
ago?
over a decade ago. I don't
At least
even
a
know
decade.
if it ever was a thing, because it was by definition syndicated content that is super, super easy to pick up. And so that drives me up the wall. But what Guy's saying, like doing the press releases around as a small component of a publicity event that you're also supporting through human outreach, through social outreach, that you are trying to get that recognition and the links back and the coverage of what you are doing, like the don't go to law school, the scholarship not to go. Great, creative, out of the box links, that will win the day. And you know what? Your content for SEO may be nauseatingly boring, right? But focus your creativity on driving the authority, because frankly, I said this the other day to a closed group, I'll say it here. We don't know where, I hate to close the episode with ChatGPT, but it's been a long time since your technology platform was a unassailable competitive advantage in the SEO wars. Everyone's on WordPress. Everyone has reasonably well coded sites. That is no longer a competitive advantage. That used to be like amazing. ChatGPT launches. If you think Google's going to be able to identify artificially generated content for the rest of time, like maybe you avoid this, but like it's enabled people to generate a whole bunch of content really quickly. So your content profile, the second leg of that SEO stool, if you have amazing lots of content, that's no longer a competitive advantage. The final remaining example, the final remaining leg of this stool where you can kill it on SEO is those links. And that's why you've been hearing links from Guy and Conrad from as long as I started talking on this podcast, right? And so put your creativity and effort towards that instead of press releases. That drives me up the wall. I'll see if I can dig up my old press release grumble. That may have been like the second article I ever wrote for Search Engine Land was about press releases. Maybe we can find that. It is a long time ago.
Yeah. And the other thing that I would say, and this is more in the local context, and I know we're coming to the end because, I don't, just like we talked about before, I don't want to try to overhype the link thing. You still got to get reviews. You've got to be able to, just ranking. Everybody's so focused on ranking. If you don't have something that motivates the searcher to actually click and call and hire you, it doesn't matter what your rankings are. If you're listing the local pack and your office is closed when they're searching and the competitor's office is open, if you list the wrong category and so they're searching for personal injury lawyer and you've got divorce lawyer in your Google business profile, if your competitor's got 1,000 reviews and you've got 2, deprioritize that in your portfolio, because you got to build those assets up before your ranking is not going to matter. This is the thing. These people that are selling rankings alone, you're not thinking about conversion. You're not thinking about potential client experience. What are you putting on your page or on your listings or on your profiles that's going to make them say, oh, wait a second, this person actually is the best lawyer for me? It's not going to be keyword-rich press release. It's not going to be your practice area page. It's not going to be your practice area page outlining personal injury law in your state, right? And again, I'm not saying don't do any of this stuff, but this is, portfolio. These are your long shot, Hail Mary, longer term type of things. Those are not where to put 80% of your eggs. I'm talking a lot about eggs in baskets today. It's on my mind, I guess.
We need a new metaphor. Or maybe we should have breakfast together next time.
Yeah. But sincerely, thank you for this. I think it was not only cathartic for Conrad and I, but also really, really valuable, I think, for other listeners, because we know a lot of marketing directors. We know a lot of other lawyers. They're dealing with this exact same issue.
Money makes it makes a world go round. Yeah, money make a world go round. Yeah, money make a world go round.